What's up, guys? I figured today I could try out my iMac webcam. You guys let me know if the quality's better or worse, whatever. Maybe I'll just record straight like this through iMovie. So let me know. The only thing is it's kind of harder to make eye contact because it's like all the way up there. So you might just see me like dazing off. But yeah, today is a really awesome day. This is probably the most memorable package of my video game collecting career, hobby, whatever, addiction, whatever you want to call it, at this point. Before I open it, though, I wanted to touch a little base about what it is. For my last video, if you caught it, I spoke about the company Cave. Now, there's a lot of videos about the company Cave. Most of you guys probably heard of Cave. But I'm going to talk about this video in a way that to you guys as if you're not really too familiar with it, so that way I can kind of touch base with all of you. Alright, so Cave is a Japanese company based in Japan, and really they cater to Japan. They've released a few titles here in the States, kind of just to get their feet wet to see if the market is there, but 90% of their titles are Japan only releases, and that doesn't stop us Americans or Europeans or anywhere else you're from to play these games. You just got to import them like you've always had to for other stuff. But Cave is a huge shmup exclusive company. And shmup, I mean, shoot 'em up. And, they really paved the way for, bringing in a lot of new shmup lovers to the genre. Because they really took their own path and style to their games. They use a term that they pretty much created called bullet crazy, bullet hell shmups. And what it is, it's like so many bullets on the screen at once, and it looks like there's no way through it, but mathematically, they're so on point that there's always a way through. And that's really what causes a lot of these people to love Cave. It's just because they're unique and legendary path that they chose as their style. Now, Cave has released numerous titles for numerous systems. I could remember all the way back to the PS1 Sega Saturn era, and they've worked their way all the way up through the PS2, through up to the Xbox 360. Nowadays, it's all Xbox 360. They did release one game on the DS, but nowadays it's all 360. So if you're trying to get into the shmups, 360 is the way to go. You're going to need a Japanese 360. What was I going to say? What else? Let's talk about a little bit about their titles. So back on the PS1, they started. This is the thing about Cave. Like, they basically started a few titles, and then they built a series up through them. For example, they released a game called Donpachi back on the PS1, Sega Saturn era, and they've built upon that series because it was so good that they released Do Donpachi, and then they released, Do Donpachi Deaju, and all these other Do Donpachi titles based off of the very first one, and they all keep the same style, just upgraded graphics and gameplay. They have a few series like that, and all these games all these games for the most part Cave released were originating on the arcade boards, the jamma boards that are used in Japanese arcades throughout Japan. The Japanese love Cave, and they always will. And for us gaijins out there, Japanese wannabes, we all understand why, because they're number one on the shmup level. Perhaps even number one just game company on planet Earth regardless. Some could argue. Now, there are a few games that were never released on home systems, also known as ports. For example, they released a title, they partnered up with Capcom, and they released a title called Pro Gear, which was never released on any other system. Pro Gear is my number one Cave game of all time, and if I want it, I gotta buy it for the arcade. There's a few others, but most of them have been ported, and people say, oh, they're arcade perfect. yes, they are arcade perfect if you agree with that term, but in my opinion, nothing's arcade perfect because it's kind of like a contradiction. That's what I think, at least, because no matter how arcade perfect it feels, it's not arcade running on a home console. But one can argue that it is arcade. They are arcade perfect. Now, the price range, depending on game, is much more money for the arcade release for any of them compared to the home console. For example, you can get a PS2 shmup like Mushihime-sama or Dudan Pachi or Escaluda for, let's say, 80, 70 to $100. But if you wanted to get that same game, but the real arcade board, you're going to be paying upwards of 3, 4, 5, up hundreds of dollars for the exact same game. So, for you regular, just shmup craving gamers out there, I would definitely suggest just getting the port, getting yourself an imported system, and going that route. But for me, I consider myself a little bit crazy, so that's not the route I took, according to this package. So let's open this up and see what I got. Alright, let's do this. I'll try to do this the best I can here. Want to be careful. This is a very important package. I'd rather cut myself than the board. Alright, now before I open it, the person I got this from, his name's Mike, and he's known on the Shmups forum and the Neo forum. On the Shmups forum, he's known as Tonk SNK, and on the Neo forum, he's known as Capadonna. And now, it's kind of funny because I never even knew where to get this stuff until I met Boss Bosley. And it's funny because Boss and Mike and a few of these other guys I know really well, they all know each other. So it's sort of like a in-house community where we all really are good friends because we know mutual friends. Similar to the way I know you guys through Luke and everyone else. So with that being said, if you ever want to get into this stuff, it's all about networking. So just keep that in mind. But he wanted me to definitely shout him out on this, and he really takes pride in his packaging skills. So let's see how well packaged this baby is. Nice little folded bubble wrap. Oh my god, look at this. Look at the packaging skills. That is ridiculous, man. Holy shit, you were right, man. This bubble wrap is gonna last me a long time. Alright. Small in size, but big on power. You ready for this? Escaluda for the JAMMA arcade system. This is Cave Escaluda. This is one of my top 3 cave games. It is also released on the PS2, and I own it and I love it. The reason I chose this game out of all the cave games, because I've been searching for forever for cave games, and I've passed up a few, but I really wanted this one. And the reason for it is because of the soundtrack. The soundtrack on this game is my #1 soundtrack ever. I actually purchased the soundtrack. It costed me more than the PS2 game costed me. And I love it. My girlfriend makes fun of me because I play that shit in the car, and she's just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm listening to Escaluda, bitch. So I went with this one, Escaluda. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why did I buy Escaluda for the arcade when I have it for the PS2 and it's the exact same game for the most part? Well, all I can really tell you is when you start collecting arcade boards, right? Like, you sort of work your way up. You start with the basics and you kind of work your way up into the most elite of titles. And for any arcade collector, cave jamma boards are the highest of status you could possibly reach. Like, sort of like an RPG, or you level up your character. This right here is like level 99. Like, no joke, man. This thing it's like a gold medal in collecting for arcades. Anyone that collects knows that. And I mean, it always holds its value. It'll always be worth at least what you paid, if not more, over the years. And they're superior to everything. So I ended up going with Escaluda. And I definitely will show you guys gameplay video on this. At the moment, sadly, I don't have a RGB SCART cable for my Super Gun. But I got some guy in Europe making it for me right now. So I should get that within a week. And I really want to hold out on playing this game until I have it running through RGB. Excuse me. Because I could run it on my cabinet, but I would have to rotate the monitor. And I got like 50 arcade games that are horizontal, and this is my only vertical game. So it would be such a pain in the ass to hook it up vertical just for one game, even though it's probably worth it. So, again, I just wanted to show you Escaluda for the arcade, made by Cave. And like I said, if you're into shmups and you love, and either you know Cave or you don't know Cave, get to know them, and definitely pick up Escaluda for the PS2. They have the series Escaluda 2 for the Xbox 360, and they have the precursor of both of them called Parade. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's another Japanese arcade exclusive. So you're not gonna be able to get that unless you got an arcade board, arcade cabinet. I guess that's it for now. I just had to show you the Cave board, and it's really small in size, but the power that this thing packs is just absolutely ridiculous. So, had to show it. It's done. I got nothing else to say. Let me know how the quality of this video turned out, and thanks for watching. Be sure to check out gameplay on that board as soon as I get a chance. Alright guys, take care. Leave your comments.